Hey, thanks so much for stopping by. Tonight I'm going to show you how I painted this design. And I'm just using one stroke paper actually it's basically practice paper. I'm just using that to show how I did the design that I'm showing you right now. And we are going to go ahead and get started. The paint that I'm using tonight is Moon Yellow, which is a folk art multi-surface. Wicker White, which is folk art enamel. Real Brown, which is the folk art multi-surface. Folk art Autumn Leaves, that's enamel. Thicket, which is also folk art enamel. Citrus Green, which is the multi-surface by folk art. And then Violet Pansy, which is also the multi-surface. I just get a little tongue-tied when I'm trying to say that for some reason. Brushes I will be using tonight will be a Filbert Brush. It's a 12 Royal Aquilon, number 2170. A flat brush, which is a plaid one-stroke brush, which is a 10. A round brush, which is a 4, number 4, Princeton Heritage Series. And then a fine line brush, which is also, and I shouldn't say also, which is actually a nail brush, which by Wistonia. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started doing the petals that I created. I forgot one other paint. It's the Berry Wine, which is also for folk art enamels. Alright, so I'm going to go with this, basically base coating the flowers with the Berry Wine. I have to watch my monitor here because I'm basically using a little bit larger paper than what I'm used to here, at least in more recent time. And I'm going to start off with the first one and basically just do the shape of the petal, kind of trying to keep it a full petal if possible, maybe more of a rounded kind of a look. And then I just keep turning my paper as I'm creating it, and I'm trying to keep my center relatively small. Some of my paintings recently, the centers have been really large, and so I'm just trying on this one to keep it kind of small. I think it actually makes it easier to tap in the center when it's not quite so big. Make that one just a tad bit bigger. And then I'm just taking white, the Wicker White, and going over the petal, each petal with it. And we'll just continue to do this as I create each flower. Yeah, just kind of spread that one out a little bit, probably more than I wanted to. Alright. This kind of reminds me of more of a springy type of an arrangement, which I thought, since it's the beginning of spring this year, that would be appropriate. Now, if you're new to my channel, please make sure that you subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. Also, there you'll notice a bell. Hit that bell. That way you'll get notifications whenever I post something new. Alright, so then I'm going to kind of go back and stroke on some more of the Berry Wine. A little bit more of it. The brush is kind of full of paint. I like to scrape. I don't like to have a ton of paint on my brush. I know some people really like to have a lot of paint. I don't particularly care for it. Now on this flower too, you can make the flower, the petals longer if you want them. These on this particular one, I'm kind of making them a little bit shorter. No particular reason, I just kind of decided to make them a little bit shorter and fatter on this one. And it's just really just something easy that I'm doing right now. Not anything difficult. And I like to just remind people when they're looking at this that my intention is to stay with an easy design. I'm not intending to do something difficult. I want it to be something that a beginner could easily create, and not something that's difficult that you have to be an experienced painter. So please keep that in mind when you're viewing. Now, if you're a more experienced painter and you like the design idea and you want to do your own twist, feel free to do so. I'd love to see your samples, or your creations I should say, probably more correctly, when you're complete. Well, this one I'm just kind of working it with the berry wine in there. Just kind of working it a little bit. Let's get it some shading. Nothing, like I said, nothing difficult by any means. Just working it till I like it. I mean, that's basically, you're making this for yourself. Easy home decor, as I would say. So make it yours. Alright, next petal. I'm going to start over here. I want it to overlap some. Again, I can make it a little pointier. You can make them 5 or 6 petals. For some reason I'm pretty good about doing the 5 petals. Get into 6 sometimes, making them really big. Also, if you're someone that needs to draw it out first. That's perfectly fine. I prefer not to draw unless I absolutely have to. Probably should at some point. I'm not saying that I shouldn't, but that's up to you. You know, if you feel like you need to draw in your design. I guess that's perfectly fine if that's what you feel you need to do. And I'm just going to quickly, like I said, this is a quick demonstration. If you feel the need to, you know, obviously when you're doing it yourself, do it slower, you know, that's fine. I mean, that's probably what you should be doing. For the purpose of doing the video, I just don't like them to be long. So it's my preference to move kind of quickly if possible. And I just kind of go back and forth with the colors until I get it the way I want it. The look you're going after as opposed to what I'm going after may be totally something different, and that's fine. You know, some people will actually do a lot of different colors when they're building a flower, and that's just a matter of preference, really. And I'm just kind of doing this right now. Do a little bit of blending. Like I said, you just keep working it until you get the look you're looking for. Look that makes you happy. May not be the same on all the flowers. It can vary. Give it some interest. And these are all pretty much like 2D. You know, they're not really showing any type of movement as far as petals curving in or whatnot. Like I said, my point is to keep it simple, just for the newbies. and actually for myself. It's easier when you're doing a video. Let's keep it moving. You can round them like that. Like I said, you can make them have, you know, some points if you want. But this is just an easy demo. And I am keeping with the 5 petals. And you can make your, I don't know if you want to call this a bouquet, but you can make it with more than just the 3 main flowers too. It's a very pretty, like I said, very springy. Do that. And get into this one. And I'm going to pull some of the dark back into it. If you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And again, remember, if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you do so and hit that bell. And I think it shows up enough with the contrast. Like when it's overlapping, I think you can see it enough even though they're basically similar in color. I'm just using light strokes on this too. When I'm doing the blending, just light strokes. Alright, and I stop with that for that part of it. Going to move on to my number 4 round brush to create the little orange looking flowers. It kind of remind me of horseshoes in a sense, but basically it's just taking one, kind of doing a like that. I like one part to be a little bit more rounded. This part can be a little higher on one side, and it's just the one color. I'm not doing multi-colors for shading or anything like that. It's just simple little colors. One color. Let me fix that up like that down there. Try to keep it rounded a little bit. Like I said, they kind of remind me of horseshoes, even though they're not completely a horseshoe shape. I just got to thinking about it and thought, boy, that's what it reminds me of. Okay, we're doing it here. I'm a lefty, so I have a tendency to make the longer side on the right side and the shorter on the left. Not exactly sure why. That's how I'm seeing it. And just for the purpose of how I'm doing this, I can maybe throw in a couple here, like that. And maybe even just, well, maybe even just throw one in over here. It doesn't have to be the same increments on both sides. And actually that one I ended up doing it with the left being longer, didn't I? Well, must have been the way I had the paper turn. Okay. Alright, so then the next one I'm going to put in will be with purple. So I'm just taking the same brush with the, I always forget this one, the Violet Pansy, and then just tipping the brush into the white, the Wicker White. Just give myself more paint. So just tip it in there. Well, it's more than a tip, but tip it in there like that. And then I am just going to go about adding these little, the simple little strokes. My dog is trying to get down in the basement with me. I kick out all the time. If anybody watches my other videos, or has in the past when she's been down here, I've always had to stop the video and remove her, because she barks all the time at my other dog to get her up and moving. So consequently she gets kicked out quite a bit. We're not even allowed in the space because she's so noisy and gets into so much. And like I said, with this, you know, I add a little bit of purple and maybe go back and put some more white, and then just keep doing it. They're just real quick and easy little strokes too for these flowers. It's just basically tipping the brush, pulling it, pulling it, pulling it. It's not meant to, well, like I said, I keep saying this, but none of these are meant to be difficult. It's something that can be done quickly and more, I don't want to say abstract, but closer to that. Put more purple in it, like that. Like that. And you can even rob from the one that has the white on it if you want. Okay, am I staying in the photo? Alright, so then I'm probably going to come up here and maybe put in a few here. Maybe put in more, so I don't want too big of a space in the center either. And you can put them closer together just like I did on that one. Again, it's just like you're having a bouquet of flowers and the flowers are just kind of randomly placed. They don't have to be, you know, exactly in certain places. I think this is cute just like that. Alright, so then I am going to put in some of the green, and that's going to be, I want to go ahead and use this fine line brush to do that. This is like the little stems, or the little, yeah, I guess you call them stems. Just try to keep them just really light. you need to put more of the darker green. I'm just kind of doing the same basis that I did these flowers then, where I tipped it into one paint and then fold it along. And they don't have to be really dark or thick. They can just be kind of light and airy, which is fine. I like them like that. And if you think you got too much paint, like I said, I don't like to have too much on my brush. And we're going to just kind of, even though they're not the same flower, we can still tie them in like that if you want. Coming out at the same spot. And just look how fun that is. Just light and airy, like I said, just very light. And if you like it to have a little bit more, of a consistent line, that's fine. Go ahead and add that in. As far as the centers go and the purple, I'm just going to tap it in with the same liner brush. And I'm just tapping in, just very quickly tapping in the moon yellow. And just kind of any place that it's open in the center, I'm tapping it in. Oops, my mom cannot see me. Sorry about that. And then just, like I said, just taking the brush and tapping it in. It's not a real precise, just kind of tapping the paint in and moving on. Not even dotting, just kind of tap, tap, tap and move. And I think that's fine. The next one is going to be a little bit more, I want to make sure I do this correctly this time, because I kind of had them facing the wrong way in my initial sample. I'm going to have to turn them around a little bit. Alright, so basically this is kind of my way of double loading. I'm not doing 3/4 of the way up the brush or doing a lot of brushing back and forth on it, and that's the reason for that is because I'm going to be tapping in like this, and I really don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm covering up the white that's around the center of the flower as much as I can, and I'm just tapping in and then coming back over and tapping it in like that. If I want to make sure that the yellow is more prominent around here, I can come back in and do that. It's funny, these are kind of my go-to centers now. I love them. I'm not sure why, but I do. Alright. This one I'm going to kind of have it going like this. Now it's a little bit bigger opening, so the center is going to look bigger. Just take your time with it. Like I said, I always want to rush everything I'm doing. And I want to close up that white part as much as I can. And I'd like it to have some more yellow. And just basically tapping it. Alright, and then this one is just going to be more of a straight up and down pretty much. tap back in some of the yellow, that more defined. And it's okay if I have a little bit of that showing right there, and you'll see the reason why I don't mind it here in just a second. Okay, because I'm going to take my little liner brush that I've got paint all over, and then just tap in the centers with the Wicker White. Now you can make it look more like dots. I'm not really trying to make them look like dots, I'm just tapping it in. Sporadic, it doesn't have to look like a dot. Alright. Now if you want to do something around here, I mean you could do some dotting, but I'm not going to right now. We're going to continue on doing the petals, or the leaf petals. I'm going to go back to using the Filbert brush. Sorry, I'm rinsing it out right now. The Filbert brush, which is the number 12. It's the one I created the leaves with. And I'm going to be using I'll put some more of this on here, the citrus green and the Thicket. Just like I said, some of my favorite colors. And then this here. You know what? I think if I used that, I can't remember now. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be just doing some of these. And these are pretty much double loaded, and I have the different colors on the side. Like I said, I'm not really one to do perfect double loading, and a lot of people will do their brushes back and forth and all that a gazillion times. I just don't. I just put it in the paint and go. That's my way of doing it. And then you might want to just do some little leaves like this over here. And you can also create these too with a flat brush if you want. Let's see here. Trying to do some similar leaves. I'm just pushing and pulling. Like that. And then I'll just lift this up lightly and do my little vines, or make my little stems, I guess, however you want to call them. Then I can do some of this, just kind of fill it in a little bit more if you want to do that. That way. And if you feel the need to, connect them all, that's fine. I'm not going to. I like them like that, but you can if you feel like you need to. You can just kind of overlap it too if you want. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I like leaves, and a lot of them. So be prepared. My feeling is you're never going to have too many, and some people feel the opposite way. You can. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to have a lot of leaves going on, then that's how you should paint yours. Make it your own. I always say make it your own. It's exactly what you need to do. Alright, let's see what else we have going on here. Kind of like to put some in the center here, just to give it some color, make it look like it wasn't left out. You can turn these too so that you're actually getting the lighter color in the mix too. If you feel like it's too dark, just turn it. And then, you know, if you keep wanting to work on those, that's fine too. I think I might go ahead and put a leaf in here. Let me double it here with the other color. Reload. You know, it just gives it some added interest. I'm going to do that with these two. Put some in there. And then I'm going to come back with my, I believe it's my number 4 round brush. And then on some of these little vines here, or little stems, I'm going to just add in, kind of like I did with the actual petals on these flowers. Just kind of tap them in. Again, they just have to be very, you know, with those you can maybe make it look like it's coming up around it. It's just a quick little flower, so I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that. And you just kind of tap them in sporadically. And I rotate back and forth with the darker or the lighter. You can actually even mix up some different greens so that they're not all the same. I'm just kind of tapping them. Just go back over them a little bit if you want. You know, it's just to fill it in. I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking about. It's just kind of filler leaves. If you don't like them being so light, you know, go back over them and go up to it like that. Maybe tap in a little bit more green. And really, it's just kind of just taking the brush lightly and tapping it. That's all you're doing. Tap, 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 tap. And add some of the green in there. Maybe that's too much. Doesn't matter. Go back over it if you want it to look different. Tip-a-tap-toop. Tip-tap-toop. And they don't have to be connected. They really don't. Only if you wish them to be. And you can draw lines there if you want. I'm happening to not mind it, so I'm not going to. Alright, so I think we're finished. And here it is. I think it's just a perfect, just airy, to me it's kind of light and airy. A little bouquet. Nice springtime reminder that it is actually spring, so hopefully we start getting some of that spring weather. I'm not sure where you live, but I live in Ohio and we kind of have quite a mixture from one day to the next, so you never know. But anyways, if you like this video, again, please give me a big thumbs up. Share with your friends if you like it, and make sure you subscribe so that I see you again the next time. But until then, have a good one.